Hello, my dear students. This is your chemistry teacher, and I'm going to teach you a new chapter today, that is chemical bonding and molecular structures. So, first we are entering into the Kozal-Lewis approach. So, in this chapter, we need to understand, matter is made up of different types of elements. So, we know atoms do exist. When the atoms combine, they form molecules. And how are they forming molecules? Can, can a molecule be formed between all the atoms? No. Only certain atoms can bond and molecules can be formed. So when the molecules they combine, they form compounds, chemical compounds. So only certain type of atoms can combine through chemical bonds. Why only certain type of atoms can combine? For example, a hydrogen, two hydrogens and one oxygen can combine and form a water molecule, H2O, is it not? Two hydrogens and one oxygen molecule can combine. And why they are combining in that way? Why they are not combining like two hydrogens and two oxygens? Yeah, that is also possible. That is peroxide H2O2. And why not two fluorine and two oxygens F2O2? Is it possible? No, only certain atoms do combine. And why is it so? Have you ever wondered in this way? So, for those questions, we are going to get answers from this chapter. Okay, so the attractive force that holds various constituents together in different chemical species is called as a chemical bond. So we were wondering, no, why they were formed. Only Kozal-Lewis gave a theory of chemical bonding which succeeded independently in giving a satisfactory explanation of the formation of the chemical bonds. So what Lewis did, Lewis pictured the atom as a kernel, okay, like a walnut. You have the nut in the you have the nut in the center of the walnut, and you have the shell surrounding it, is it not? So what he said was, the nucleus is present as a kernel, that is the depth, and the outer shell is accommodated by the electrons, um, just like what we studied in the structure of atom. Okay, nucleus in the center and electrons are revolving around. So what Lewis said, he imagined it to be a kernel and the outer shell was accommodated with electrons. Okay, so when we speak about sodium, you know how many electrons sodium had. Sodium has one valence electron. Totally sodium has 11 electrons and only one valence electrons. So before understanding this concept, we must know what is a valence electron. So okay, the outermost shell of any atom is called as the valence shell, and the electrons present in that outermost shell is called as the valence electrons. So in the case of sodium, how many electrons are present? Yes, only one electron is present. So that is the valence electron. Okay, so when the atoms combine, okay, how Lewis explained this? When the atoms they combine, okay, there should be total of 8 valence electrons. If sodium is having one valence electron and chlorine is having 7 valence electrons, so totally when sodium and chlorine combine, how many valence electrons they form? They form 8 valence electrons, is it not? So that is called as the octet rule. Always when the atoms do combine, they have 8 electrons in their outermost shell. That is called as the octet rule. So always there should be 8 electrons in the valence shell when they combine. Only if that rule is satisfied, chemical bonds are formed. And if the chemical bonds are formed also, they will be stable atoms. I mean stable molecules. They will be stable molecules. Otherwise, if the octet rule is not satisfied, they are not stable molecules. Okay, so sodium chloride is the best example I can say in this case. Okay, now You see Lewis symbol. So he explained this in terms of symbols. You see this atom, lithium has one valence electron, beryllium has two valence electrons. Is it not? Lithium, hydrogen, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine and neon. You see each has one valence electron, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 respectively. And you see the inert gas neon. How many valence electrons it has? It has already 8 electrons. So there is no need of combining with another atom so that it can have a valence electrons, or so that it can have a so that it can follow the octet rule, so that it can satisfy the octet rule. So inert gases already has 8 electrons in them. So they don't want to combine with other atom to have that 8 electron, to have that octet rule satisfied. That is why they are not forming any bonds. That is why they are inert. That is why they are chemically inert. They don't react and they are always stable. But when you take fluorine, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 electrons it has. So it needs only 1 electron to satisfy the octet rule. So with which atom it can combine easily? Yes, with hydrogen it can combine easily, because already it has 7 electrons. If it combines with hydrogen with 1 electron, it achieves that stable octet, 8 electrons. So HF is easily formed. And what about your oxygen? I told you the example, water. 2 hydrogens with 1 oxygen. Why? See, fluorine can combine with only 1 hydrogen. Why? Because it needs only 1 electron to satisfy the octet rule. So it is combining with 1 hydrogen. And what about oxygen? Can it combine with only one hydrogen? Is it stable? Is it complete? No. It needs 2 more electrons to become an octet, to become 8 electrons in the valence shell. So it combines with 2 hydrogen atoms. So this is the explanation given by Lewis. Got it? So Lewis symbol is nothing but you're writing the symbol of the element, and you're going to place dots around the element which denotes electrons, which denotes the valence electrons. So that is Kozal-Lewis approach. And also he gave some other postulates he gave, like so highly electronegative halogens in the periodic table, and why some are electropositive. Okay, they are separated by noble gases. And I told you know why HF is possible, why not H2F is possible, why H2O is possible, why not HO is possible. So all this information was satisfactorily explained by your Lewis theory, Kozal-Lewis approach. Okay, next see this sodium chloride, and this is the basic. Octet rule is the basis, and based on the octet rule, elements can combine and form different types of bonds. Sometimes they form ionic bonds, sometimes they form covalent bonds, sometimes coordinate bond, and so on. So how this ionic bond is formed? Now take this sodium. And one more thing, why they have to lose okay, first let me explain you what is an ionic bond. So what is sodium? Sodium, so I have written sodium here. And how many electrons sodium has? So totally 11 electrons and only 1 valence electrons. So that one valence electron it can lose and become sodium plus. I already told you how a cation is formed. If it loses electron, cation is formed. Is it not? If it loses electron, it gains a positive charge, because electrons and the proton count will not balance. If you remove an electron or add an electron, the electron proton count is not balanced, and based on that atoms becomes charged. So when I remove an electron, it gains a positive charge. It becomes a cation. So why is it trying to become a cation? That is the question. Okay, next coming to the chlorine. When chlorine takes up an electron, already it has 7 electron, right? So if it takes up 1 electron, it can become 8 electron, and it is becoming a negative charged atom. So this is becoming an anion. So sodium is becoming a cation and chlorine is becoming an anion. Why are they doing so? Because when they do so, they gain a complete octet. Okay, when sodium loses one electron, it gains the neon configuration. Okay, neon configuration. Neon is 10 electrons. Totally, neon has 10 electrons in the valence shell. That is octet electrons in the valence shell. 2 innermost electron and 8 octet electrons. So totally 10 electrons for neon. So when sodium loses one electron, it achieves a configuration of neon. Okay, it achieves the stable configuration of an inert gas. That is why it is capable of losing one electron and becomes a cation. You got it? That is why sodium is losing one electron. And now why chlorine is gaining one electron easily? Okay, why chlorine is gaining? Once if it gains electrons, it becomes an organ configuration. It gets the configuration of organ. What is organ? Organ is again a inert gas with 8 electrons in the outermost shell. So to achieve that stable 8 electron configuration only, the atoms are tending to lose electrons and gain electrons. And what is the beneficial thing out of this? When sodium loses one electron, it becomes a cation. When chlorine gains an electron, it becomes anion. Now they are positive and negatively charged molecule. So what type of bond is formed between a positive cation and a negative anion? Yes, an ionic bond is easily formed. Got it? Why they are forming the ionic bond? Because they are losing the electron. Why they are losing the electrons to form cation and anion? Because if they lose electrons, they gain the stable configuration, stable inert gas configuration. And after forming the bond also, you count the number of electrons. So how many electrons are involved from sodium? 1 electron. How many electrons are involved in the formation of a bond for chlorine? 7 electrons. So totally they are having 8 electrons. That is called as octet rule. So octet rule is also satisfied, and you understood this concept, why ionic bond is formed between sodium and chlorine. Next, coming to the calcium fluoride. So calcium, what is the valence electron? 2 electrons for calcium, because calcium is in the next column, no? Next column of the periodic table from sodium. So sodium has 1 electron, calcium has 2 valence electrons. So how many electrons it can lose? It can lose 2 electrons. Why it has to lose 2 electrons? So that it can gain organ configuration, AR. That's why they have written in brackets AR. So once if they lose the 2 electron, see, with organ configuration with extra 2 electrons it has. Now after losing the 2 electron, it becomes a stable organ configuration, complete as same as that of the organ it has. So that is why it is losing the 2 electron. Now coming to the fluorine. Fluorine generally, what is the configuration for fluorine? Helium. It is already having the helium configuration. Along with helium, it's totally 2 electrons. Is it not? Hydrogen, helium. Is it not? So 2 electrons totally. 2 electrons along with the 2 electrons. 2 plus 2, 4. 4 plus 5, 9. So totally 9 electrons for fluorine. And what is the valence shell? Totally 7 electrons. This helium configuration, it is having a helium configuration 2 electron, which is not going to take part in the chemical bonding, and 7 electrons in the valence shell. So if it gains 1 electron, what happens? It becomes the neon configuration. So from helium, it is becoming the neon configuration. So helium 2s2 2p6 it becomes. That is nothing but the neon configuration. Totally 10 electrons as I told you. So one calcium can take up 2 fluorine, because calcium has 2 positive charges, but fluorine has only 1 negative charge. So for 1 positive charge, 1 fluorine. So 2 positive charge, 2 fluorine. So CaF2 is formed. Why not CaF? So this is again a question. Why? See, why sodium chloride? 1 sodium, 1 chlorine is forming. Is it not? 1 sodium with 1 chlorine. But why for calcium 2 fluorines you need? Why there is no CaF? Because of the octet rule. Clear? So now if you know this concept clearly, you will not make any mistake in writing the formulas. Okay? So you might be writing, there is no NaCl2. Yeah, when you write, when I say sodium chloride, you will write only NaCl now. And when I say calcium fluoride, you won't write CaF. You will write CaF2. You know the reason now. So the electrostatic, okay. So when you have a positive charge and a negative charge, you see this one. The bond formed as a result of electrostatic attraction between the positive and negative ions was termed as the electrovalent bond or ionic bond. Okay. So one cation is formed, one anion is formed, and there is an electrostatic force of attraction between the positive and the negative charge, and that type of bond is called as electrovalent bond. So electrovalence is equal to the number of the unit charges on the ion. Okay, so for calcium, what is the electrovalence? 2 positive charges. For chlorine, 1 electrovalence charge. Got it? So that's it. So that we have, now I have explained you the octet rule also. You know what is an octet rule, and what is that? According to this, atoms can combine either by transfer of valence electrons from one atom to another, or by sharing the valence electrons in the valence shell. This is known as octet rule. So I told you na, it can be an ionic bond formation like what we have seen before, sodium chloride and calcium fluoride. Sometimes there is no formation of positive and negative charges. There can be mutual sharing of electrons. So when mutually if they share the electrons, see in the sodium chloride case, they are not mutually sharing. Sodium is giving one electron, chlorine is taking up that electron. Yeah, that is why their cations and anions are formed, and they are forming ionic bond. But in some cases there will be mutual sharing of electrons. So this one atom will give one electron, the other atom will give one more electron. So to make a bond, to make a single bond, how many electrons we need? We need 2 electrons. So one is given by hydrogen, the other is given by oxygen in the case of water. So if they mutually share electrons for the formation of a bond, then a covalent bond is formed. There also 8 electron rule must satisfy. Otherwise, covalent bond cannot be formed. Got it? Okay. Okay. Now you see. Okay. In the case of you see this water formation. Okay. So you see the water formation. So I told you 2 hydrogens with 1 oxygen. So I am writing this. See, hydrogen is giving 1 electron, and this hydrogen is giving 1 electron. Totally how many electrons does hydrogen has? 1 electron. So oxygen has totally 6 electrons. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. This 2 electrons, no? This is not taking part in the bonding. And apart from this 2, how many more electrons it can have? It has 6 electrons, no, total valence electrons. So 4 is present here, which is not used for bonding, and 1 is here. Okay, the other one is here. So 2 plus 4, this one 5 and 6. The other electron is from hydrogen. So totally they make, there are 2 electrons. Is it not? In the intersection part you see, we have 2 electrons. One is from hydrogen, the other is from oxygen. So they are making a bond. And this side also, one from hydrogen, other from oxygen. So they are making a bond. As I told you, they are making single bonds. For making a single bond, how many total electrons we need? We need 2 electrons. So one is given by oxygen, the other one is given by hydrogen. They are mutually sharing. That's why they are forming a covalent bond here. Now how to find out these octet electrons? Now you have to count. So totally how many electrons we have? For oxygen alone you see. Now oxygen, I have given a circle here. It's a circle is shown here around the oxygen. So count the total number of electrons around the oxygen only. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now oxygen is surrounded by 8 electrons. Now coming to this hydrogen. In this hydrogen circle, how many electrons it has? It has only 2 electrons. This is an exceptional case. like always all the electrons will not have 8 electrons. Sometimes it can have less than 8 electrons because they are having very less number of electrons, no, in the outermost shell. Their total electron count itself is very small. Like a hydrogen has only 1 electron, the total number of electron itself is 1. So you cannot always expect that to form an 8 electron thing. You can expect them to form less than 8 electron also. That is also stable. They are exceptions from this. Though Kozal-Lewis gave us a nice theory and explained the formation of the bonds between the atoms, there are some exceptions also. Chemistry is always with exceptions. Okay, when you mm, they say funnily, the size of a chemistry book is only 100 to 200 pages. The total chemistry in the world, if you take, the size of the book will be like very thin with 100 or 200 pages only. But when you include all the exceptions for the chemistry, it becomes a big volume. So chemistry without exceptions is very small, but chemistry with exceptions is a, a, a million pages book. So that is what always we say funnily. Okay, next coming to the carbon tetrachloride. So carbon tetrachloride, you see, carbon has 4 electrons in the valence shell and chlorine has 7 electrons in the valence shell. For making a bond, how many they are sharing? Mutually sharing the electrons. So totally now you count the electrons around carbon, you count this circle. There is a circle surrounding the carbon. You start counting the electrons in that circle which is surrounding the carbon. 2, 4, 6 and 8. So similarly for the chlorine also, 2, 4, 6 and 8. 2, 4, 6 and 8. 2, 4, 6 and 8. So yes, 8 electrons surrounding them. Carbon also now surrounded by 8 electrons. So totally carbon tetrachloride is formed. It's a stable molecule. So this is, you have to practice this. Next example is chlorine molecule. So chlorine, you know, 7 electrons in total. 2 chlorine molecules having 7 electrons in total. So when they make a bond, 1 electron from this chlorine, other electron from this chlorine. They are making a bond. Now when you count the chlorine, this one, this part alone you count. So this is the 8 electrons of this particular chlorine. 2, 4, 6 and 8. Okay. Now you count this 2, 4, 6 and 8. So 8 electrons surrounding this chlorine and 8 electrons surrounding other chlorine. So totally 8 electrons, and they are following the octet rule. Next, coming to the double bonds. Always we have seen only single bonded examples. There can be formation of double bond also, is it not? And this is a single bond as well as it's a covalent bond. All these bonds we have seen here is covalent bond. Now coming to the carbon dioxide molecule. So carbon has how many electrons? Totally 4 electrons. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. Yeah, this is from carbon. And from oxygen it's totally 6. 2, 4 and 2 electrons. So oxygen is giving 2 electron, carbon is giving 2 electron to make double bonds. Totally 4 electrons means 2 bonds can be formed. So a double bond can be formed. Yes, a double bond can be formed out of this, in this. And now count the total number of electrons when they form double bonds. 2, 4, 6 and 8 around this oxygen. So octet rule satisfied. Now for carbon you choose. For carbon you count 2, 4, 6 and 8 around the carbon. So 8 electron satisfied. Now coming to this 2, 4, 6 and 8. 8 electrons satisfied na? So they can form double bonds between them. But if you try to form single bond, no, you won't get that octet. You can write down in your notebook and check. When you try to form only single electrons, single bond. So 1 electron will be here, 1 electron, 2 electrons will be here around the carbon. So now count 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 only. Okay, 1 electron from oxygen will remain outside only. And this electron is carbon electrons, it will remain inside. So forget this 2 electrons. You have only 2 electrons, single bond formation. So 2, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So totally only you will have 7 electrons. Octet rule is not satisfied now. So this is one reason for the formation of a double bond. There is a existence of the double bond between your carbon and oxygen. Got it? And C2H4 molecule, this ethene molecule also you can try. First you can, actually when you practice on the notebook, what you can do, you can try to differentiate the electrons from carbon and hydrogen. Like instead of dots you can put stars, small stars you can write to differentiate the electrons coming from carbon and hydrogen. And then if you practice this Lewis structure, it will be very easy. Got it? So you can try this C2H4 molecule also. Then coming to the nitrogen molecule, see, triple bonds has to be formed between nitrogen. You cannot form single bond. If you form only single bond, other electrons will remain outside and you will get you won't get the octet configuration. That is why a triple bond is formed between two nitrogen atoms. And also ethine molecule. Ethine means what? Ethylene means you have double bonds between the two carbons, and ethine means you have triple bond between the two carbons. So the reason for this is also given by your Kozal-Lewis approach or Lewis structure. So simple molecules. So what is this? The Lewis dot structure provides a picture of bonding in the molecules and ions in terms of the shared pairs of electrons and the octet rule. Okay. So you see the table, you see hydrogen, how the Lewis representation is given like this. So a bond is formed. For oxygen, a double bond is formed. So they have clearly given the Lewis representation as well as the bond representation. When you give with only electrons as dots, then it is called as Lewis dots. This is Lewis representation and the bond representation. Okay. So you can practice all these problems. So one more problem also given to you. Count the total. They have given the, yes, this is so write the Lewis dot structure of carbon monoxide molecule. So how to do it? They have given step by step. So count the total number of valence electrons for carbon and oxygen, and then you can draw and find out. Okay, next is calculating the formal charge. See, after forming the bond also, sometimes you have charge on the atoms. Like for example, if you take carbonate anion, you see this carbonate anion, CO3 2 minus. Why it is having that negative charge? It is carbonate. Why it is having the two negative charges? How do we know? That is explained by your formal charge calculation. So how to calculate that formal charge? So formal charge on an atom in a Lewis structure is equal to total number of valence electrons in the free atom minus total number of non-bonding electrons. So total number of valence electrons, for example, for oxygen, what is the total number of electrons? It is 6. And non-bonding electrons which are not taking part in the bonding minus shared number of electrons. So how many electrons are involved in bonding? So when you do this, half of the number of electrons shared in the bonding. So when we do this, we get this formal charge. Okay, let's calculate the ozone molecule. For ozone molecule, let us calculate. So this is oxygen 1, oxygen 2 and oxygen 3. So let us try to calculate the formal charge on this oxygen atom 1. So how many valence electrons for oxygen? 6 minus total number of electrons which are not involved in bonding is 2. Is it not? 2 minus half of total number of electrons involved in bonding. So surrounding this oxygen, how many bonds we have? 1, 2 and 3. So 3 bonds are there. Totally 6 electrons we have. So 1 by 2 into 6. So when we do this, we get plus. That means this oxygen has one positive charge. Okay. And similarly, for oxygen 2 you calculate. Okay, 6. Totally 6 electrons. Valence electron is going to be the same. Is it not? So valence electron is 6 minus number of electrons which are not involved in any type of bonding. Which are not involved in any type of bonding. 2 plus 4. So 4. 6 minus 4 minus. How many bonds in total surrounding this oxygen itself? So only 2. So totally 4. So 1 by 2 into 4. So 2. 6 minus 4 minus 2, totally 0. That means this atom is neutral, perfectly neutral, and it has no charge in it. And what about the octet rule? Is it satisfied? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, octet rule is satisfied for this. Now coming to this central atom, count the total number of electrons surrounding this oxygen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 electrons satisfied for this also. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now coming to this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. See, one thing you have to notice here. Out of the 6 electrons, all electrons are not involved in the bonding here. This 2 electrons is from this oxygen only. This oxygen is giving the 2 electrons for making this bond. This oxygen is not giving any electrons. It is simply getting 2 electrons, not even 1 electron. It is getting 2 electrons from the oxygen to follow the octet rule. So 2, 4, 6, 2 from oxygen 1. So totally 8 electrons surrounding it. Now count the electrons for this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It is giving the 2 electrons for making this particular bond. That type of bond is called as the coordinate bond. So one coordinate bond exists here. That is why this oxygen is having the positive charge. You got it? Because it is giving the 2 electrons. It is giving the electrons totally without getting mutually sharing electrons. It is giving the electron. That is why it is having a positive charge. It's a coordinate bond. This type of bond is called as a coordinate bond. And so this is getting from this. So this should have a negative charge. So let us see whether it is having a negative charge or not. Yes, it is having a negative charge. So totally 6 electrons in the valence shell. Non-bonded electron also 6 here. Is it not? Non-bonded also totally 6. Minus 1 by 2. How many bonds are there surrounding it? Only 1 bond. So totally 2 electrons. 1 by 2 of 2. So 1. 6 minus 6 minus 1. So minus 1. So the charge is minus 1. And what is the type of bond this is? This is actually a covalent bond. Mutually sharing. This is giving 1 electron. This is giving 1 electron. 1 and 2. But between 1 and 3, it's a coordinate bond. Because 1 is giving the 2 required electrons for making a bond. So this is called as a coordinate bond. And that is why this is having a positive charge. This is having a negative formal charge. So this from the knowledge itself you can identify. Otherwise we can also find out using this formal charge calculation. So that's it for today. You have to practice a lot on this. So in the next class I'll teach you the limitations of octet rule and expanded octet. Okay, so many things to go in this chapter. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you.